Hey, what's up? I'm terrible at filming intros, I guess. This hour-long video that you're about to watch is an analysis of my most recent Disneyland speedrun that you can check out right here on my main channel. It was a video where I rode every ride at Disneyland in about 12 hours and something minutes. You gotta watch the video, I'm not gonna tell you. But, I did it without lighting lane though. That was the big thing with the speedrun. I'm gonna go over all the tips and tricks that I use to get the lowest weights. And yeah, I mean, that's it. Just get the lowest weights. So, without further ado, you can set this video to 2x speed or scroll through the timestamps or, I don't know, whatever you want to do, and here's the analysis. So, usually for Disneyland speedruns, I like to spend at least a month probably planning it. For this one, I took about a month and a half. I started planning this in June. It was late June when I started planning this, and it was August 10th when I actually did the speedrun. But I wanted to show you before we actually get into going through the video, I want to show you some of the predictions I had for the speedrun. This is an Excel sheet that I have where what I do to plan for a speedrun is I basically just go through it and imagine myself going on the rides. This was the first prediction I had. Initially, I was going to start rope dropping Fantasyland until I realized that Fantasyland was a terrible idea because if you're doing a no lighting lane speedrun, don't rope drop Fantasyland. That's a terrible idea because you could do those in the afternoon and the rides max out at like, I don't know, 30 minutes, maybe 40 if you're unlucky, but that's better than like the big rides maxing out at like 2 hours. So I went in with this prediction, which was a prediction for Adventureland. And I was actually going to go through with this plan. I was going to rope drop Adventureland. We were going to start on like the left side of Disneyland and just go through it. However, there were a few things that changed that made me want to change my strategy to this, which is the one that we know and love. It's the one that I went with and ended up doing pretty well for me. When I was initially planning, Matterhorn was not open. So I was planning as if I wasn't going to do Matterhorn, but then Matterhorn opened sometime in July, and I was like, okay, I need to redo the plan because I can't be doing Matterhorn in the afternoon. That's just not going to work. The other thing that changed is that Indiana Jones went on single rider, which is huge. That's never actually happened, having Indiana Jones be on single rider. That was the main reason that I even wanted to rope drop the left side first, is so that I could just get Indiana Jones over with. But now that it's on single rider, I don't need to worry about it. So I decided instead, let's go for a land that has like the most amount of like fast pass rides in one contained area. So that's what came to me with this plan, which is the rope drop Toontown side. I was definitely a little bit skeptical of even doing this because I know from my experience, I know that like these rides right here, like Roger Rabbit, Runaway Railway, Gadget Go Coaster, they're not going to get like bad until like late morning. So you're probably okay with like not even rope dropping them. But I still wanted to do that because I also knew that because of that, they also were going to be like wide open and I was going to have no problem just running on them. So that's how we started the speed run. It was initially going to be a Fantasyland rope drop. Then I realized that was a terrible idea, so I went to an Adventureland rope drop. Then I realized that I should probably not do that because I'm going to be leaving Toontown and Matterhorn like wide open for the afternoon. So I decided to just throw those in as one section, kind of straight down the middle. That's kind of that's the preface for this. We're gonna find out that I'm very happy that I didn't do the Adventureland rope drop because something happens during rope drop with Adventureland and just the left side in general that we're gonna get into. It was not good. We're gonna start going through the video.
Can I ride every ride at Disneyland in just 12 hours?
So the question for today is, can I ride every ride at Disneyland faster than I did 2 years ago, and this time without being able to skip lines?
Oh, by the way, I filmed this the day after. This was the morning after I filmed this, and I was so dead that night. I'll get into that when we get to the end, but yeah, this was the morning after.
By dividing Disneyland into 4 sections, I have created a path that mathematically ensures I am avoiding most of the longest waits in the park.
By the way, dividing the rides into sections, I kind of did one initially because I did it for the first time in my last speedrun video. I did that one because I feel like it makes the video a little bit more entertaining to be like, okay, we got to do this part, then we got to go to this part, and then you kind of like can create a strategy through that, and it just kind of helps with like engagement in the video. But I also did it just for my own sake because I found, especially from doing the speedrun the first time where I didn't do this, I found that if you divide the park into sections, sections, it actually really helps you get through everything and not feel like you're running around everywhere. It can be a little exhausting feeling like you're at Space Mountain and you're like, I want to go to Res Resistance. Like, you should not do that. You're wasting your time. It's not a good idea. But anyways, I just want to mention that. We're starting with section 1, which is all of Toontown, then Matterhorn, then Main Street vehicles. It's the entire middle part of Disneyland.
And if I want to stay on pace with my razor type.
Also, a quick note about rope drop. They actually rope dropped us like 15 seconds early, but as per the speedrun rules, and you can do this during your speedruns too, you can check this in the rules. If the rope drop for some reason happens early, you still don't start the timer until right at 8 a.m. But the main thing with, it's actually kind of funny, the strategy for a lightning lane speedrun versus a no lightning lane speedrun. If you're doing no lightning lane, you want to do as many of the lightning lane rides in the morning, but it's actually vice versa if you have lightning lane, because if you don't have lightning lane, then the rides that aren't going to take the longest in the afternoon are going to be the rides that don't have lightning lane. But if you have lightning lane, then those rides are actually going to be faster than the no lightning lane rides in the afternoon. So you kind of want to like reconfigure your plan based on if you're using lightning lane or not. That's why initially I was going to rope drop Fantasyland, but then I looked at the data and I was like, this is just not going to work at all. So I just completely redid the plan.
Starting with this one that I was able to walk on in just 7 minutes.
So yeah, it took 7 minutes, mainly just because of the pre-show. I was the only one there, by the way. I was the only one on this train. I was the only one in the pre-show, which was kind of crazy.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway generally has a long wait in the afternoon. However, for the
So what I noticed about Toontown rides, and this is just something that I've noticed about Toontown in general, it doesn't really get bad until like 10 a.m. Like, look, this is when it starts to like kind of jump up. But like even at 9 a.m., it's only a 10-minute wait. With a lot of other rides though, like if you're trying to get to Space Mountain at 9 a.m., you are cooked. That's why I wanted to go for these rides, because I knew also that not many people were going to be rope dropping them, and I could probably really easily just get on those without even worrying about doing them in the afternoon. And also, these rides don't have single rider. Single rider was like my best friend, as we're going to find out in this video, or just during the speed run. It was my best friend because I utilized it for like damn near every ride that had a single rider. I think actually I probably used it for like literally every ride that had single rider, I think, which is kind of crazy. Roger Rabbit and Runaway Railway, they may look like, oh, these are easy rides, you don't have to worry about those at all, but the reason I did them early is because my other plan had me doing them in the afternoon, and they would have been like at least 40 minutes each if I did them in the afternoon. So I'm glad I didn't do that. Look at that. It'll get up to like 40 minutes. This is like around the time that I was going to be doing it. But I'm really glad that I didn't, because the alternative would have been rope dropping the left side, which it only took me like maybe like 45 minutes to even get to the left side. It didn't even eat up that much of my rope drop time, and I did 5 rides during that time. And when we get to the left side, you're gonna see why I was really happy that I didn't rope drop the left side.
Okay, 2 rides down. 3rd ride is up over here, Gadget Go Coaster. It shouldn't take that long. In fact, it should take like maybe 45 seconds. 18 minutes and 40 seconds into the speed run. We've done 2.
I think there was like a family in front of me that was walking a little bit slowly, and when you're doing these speed runs and you're trying to walk really fast, it is kind of like, oh damn, I gotta slow down now. But it didn't really matter. It didn't take that long anyway.
Toontown, as far as wait times go.
Just wanted to point that out,
they usually
Less than 24 minutes to clear Toontown. We're done. Everything's going according to plan.
That's actually kind of crazy. 24 minutes to clear Toontown.
And so far, nothing crazy has happened yet. Here's the single rider line.
So I already knew that the single rider queue for Matterhorn was not going to be that bad, because I've done single rider in the morning for Matterhorn, and it's easily a walk on. So I went in knowing that it was not going to be that bad. That's why I wanted to do the rope drop like this, because I didn't want to have Matterhorn be in the afternoon, because I knew single rider in the afternoon for Matterhorn is not good. I've done it a few times.
Because I was using the single rider queue only 24 minutes after the park opened, it took me 1 minute and 5 seconds from the moment I got in line to get into my bobsled.
We just walked on. We're gonna run around the corner to Main Street Vehicles, literally just right around here.
So, okay, I'm doing Main Street Vehicles right now as opposed to later, because I really could not figure out how to fit it into the schedule. So, as I learned last time when I did my last speedrun, if you do them during the period of time where there's a lot of the Main Street band going down, they're going to shut down the vehicles and you can't get on them. But then you also need to take into account daytime parades, which during this time, I think it was like the Mickey's like 70th Cal Cave anniversary. I don't know, something like that. I had it on a spreadsheet. Let me see if I can find it actually. These are the Main Street band times. This is like, it's 11:25, 12:25, 2:15, 3:15. But then there's also parades that I have to keep into account, which is 1:30, 2:45, 8:45, 10:45. And you want to avoid the vehicles like 15 minutes before and after these all happen. But as you can see, it's kind of hard to really find a gap in this. And the vehicles close for the day at 2:15. Doing the vehicles like after 11:25 seems nearly impossible, or it seemed impossible when I was planning this. So that's why I was just like, okay, screw it. We're just going to do them in the morning because I know it's not going to take that long in the morning. Or at least I thought it was not going to take that long in the morning. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. It would have been easy if I had just gone with the horse.
It's a little concerning. There's one leaving right now, but oh, there's the horse. Is the horse like ready to go?
So I decided to wait for the incoming omnibus because I know from previous experience that the time between rotations of the horse takes a lot longer than any of the other vehicles. However,
so I really should not have gone with the horse because like literally as I was going to get on the omnibus, I see the horse walking down this way. So it's like if I had just like, I was already there, I could have just gotten on and it probably would have saved me like maybe 5 minutes. It's nothing crazy. The other thing that happened is that like we were seated and like ready to go. We were ready to go on the omnibus, but then there was like a dad that came up and was like, hey, I think my son left a book like up in the upper deck of the omnibus. And so then he had to stop. He had to go up there, find the book, take it down. And it was just like all these like delays just were getting to my head.
20 minutes.
If you like, if you want to record and get a better view, you can sit up front, right?
Sure, yeah, why not? That sounds awesome. Holy crap.
I've never had this opportunity before. I guess this isn't like super uncommon, especially, I mean, he just saw that I was filming, which I thought was kind of funny. It's not super uncommon for this to happen. Pretty cool experience. Also a cool experience to just happen during a speedrun, because when I'm doing a speedrun, I'm like looking for any opportunity to like capitalize on like, whoa, this is like new and different. This is cool content. So this is one of those moments. But then also what happens after this,
I'm in the driver's seat now. What the hell?
this.
Oh, hey, what's up?
I met a fan, which that's not the first time I've met a fan, but it's like the first time that's happened while I'm filming something like that. And that was also not the first time that has happened. There was another time during this speedrun where I met someone. I'll talk about it when we get there, but it was just, that was really cool. Like, because I had literally just gotten there. Like, this is not even like 40 minutes into the speedrun and I just met a fan. Even though like I didn't go on the horse and it probably would have been faster if I went on the horse, it still was like, this was cool. This was objectively a cool experience to get this. So I'm not even mad about it.
We're gonna go down Adventureland. So we're done with section 1. Section 1 is done. We're going on to section 2, which is every single ride that's on the left at Disneyland. And it might take until like 1 p.m. to even finish.
So, okay, again, Section 2, this was going to be Section 1. Section 2 was going to be Section 1. I was just going to start with the left side and then make my way to Fantasyland and then do Toontown and Matterhorn. But I decided to redo it once they like put Indiana Jones on single rider and once they reopened Matterhorn. However, as I was going to Section 2, I noticed that Indiana Jones and Tiana's Bayou Adventure were broken down. And they had been broken down since the morning. Like, that's how it was at Rope Drop. So there was like a moment in the chaos of all this, and I didn't put it in the video, where I realized like, oh my god, if I had rope dropped Adventureland, I would have been so cooked, because like the best thing I could have done probably was like Big Thunder Mountain, but like still that is not like, that's not an ideal rope drop situation. I'm so glad that didn't happen. That would have sucked so bad. Like so many, imagine like just months of planning just down the drain because Indiana Jones did not open on time. Like that would suck so bad. So
With Indy broken down and Big Thunder being a long wait already, my next best option for this section would be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. However, that ride was also broken down, which put me in a really bad spot.
So yeah, if I imagine rope dropping with that, Tiana's and Indiana Jones broken down, that would have sucked so bad.
And every second I can't decide which ride to go on is a second closer to falling off track of being able to ride every ride before 8 p.m. tonight.
I ultimately decided to go with Pirates. That's like the second thing that I kind of messed up on with, because it wasn't too big of a deal, but I probably should have done Jungle Cruise, because Jungle Cruise was a shorter wait, like shorter than when I eventually get to Jungle Cruise. I also knew that Jungle Cruise was like, it looked a little bit worse than it should look at that time, and I think the reason for that is because Indiana Jones was broken down. I just thought like, okay, let's just not do Jungle Cruise yet, because I figured that by the time I got off Pirates, Indiana Jones would be reopened, and I could just do that and then do Jungle Cruise, and Jungle Cruise wouldn't be that bad at that point because Indiana Jones is open. But that didn't happen. So It's like a really small mess up. It's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, that's just, I should have done Jungle Cruise instead. And I mentioned it in the video. I like realized that I should have done Jungle Cruise. I had assumed that like Big Thunder Mountain was kind of a long wait. It probably wasn't anything crazy because they did just open, but it was like it was outside of the main area where they have the queue. If it's outside that area, then like it's gonna be kind of a long wait. I wanted to avoid Big Thunder for a little bit because I figured that everyone was going there because Tiana's and Indiana Jones were broken down. Like Big Thunder was like, it was probably the best alternative to do.
But then when it did get Lightning Lane, the standby wait time started to look pretty bad because Lightning Lane got the priority over standby, which honestly really goes to show that just the mere existence.
Yeah, literally, okay, bro, I'm telling you there's a conspiracy going on with Lightning Lane, and just the fact that like the existence of it and the fact that you have to pay for it is the reason, like, it's what gives you the incentive to pay for it. The fact that there is this big of a difference between like the Pirates Lightning Lane without Lightning Lane and with Lightning Lane is kind of crazy. And also the fact that I was even able to get this data is because they took off Pirates from Lightning Lane in July, I want to say, and I had already had the data saved from June, so I was able to just pull that July data and take it and show that there actually is like a significant difference.
The one thing you have to worry about is the boats clogging up at the end.
Oh. Yeah, okay, the boats clogged, which is kind of crazy. That usually doesn't happen in the morning, so that kind of sucked. It was like maybe a 5-minute time loss. It wasn't anything crazy, but still, the boats did clog.
I got off Pirates and went to Jungle Cruise since Indiana Jones was still broken.
So yeah, look, Jungle Cruise doesn't look that bad. Like, there's no one, obviously, that you can see in line right now, but the fact that it goes upstairs, there's people on that side, like, upstairs, and it really wasn't that terrible of a wait, but it was like longer than I would have wanted it to be. Because of that, that's when I realized, like, damn, I really should have done Jungle Cruise earlier, because it didn't go upstairs like before. It was just kind of like out the door.
However, Indiana Jones is still closed down, so if I can walk on Indiana Jones after it reopens using the single rider queue, then I'll be back on track.
And that's honestly the only reason that I was even in this area, is because I wanted to do Indiana Jones. I didn't want to wait on that one. I knew that the longer I wait on Indiana Jones, the worse it's going to get. And then while I was in line, it reopens, so it ended up working out well. Indiana Jones was on single rider, and it was, I think, like a week before this, they were actually in the testing phase for it. So they were only doing it like periodically, like during a certain time of the day. So I was like, I don't even know if it's going to be open. It might not even be worth doing it. But I knew that like if I wanted to get a good time on the speedrun, I'm going to have to do Indiana Jones like with single rider. Even if it means I have to walk to a different ride and then I have to periodically walk back to Indiana Jones. That's what I was planning on doing. But I went up there and the single rider queue was open, so it was fine.
Hopefully they have single rider. I don't know. They do. Wait.
Yeah, I saw them with the pink
single rider
right there.
There you go. Just make sure to have it on, okay?
If you don't rope drop it, your wait is most likely going to be 45 minutes. And that's if the ride doesn't break down while you're waiting for it, which happens on...
That's always in the back of my head when I'm like on Indiana Jones during a speedrun, is like, what if the ride breaks down? If the ride breaks down, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
The reason I want to wait until I see the boat dock to ride it is because there is only one Mark Twain riverboat. And if I can walk on it while they are boarding people, I can save as much as 15 minutes waiting for it.
No, it's not docked. Okay. Then I think we're gonna wait for Big...
And I had actually, I don't even think I mentioned this, I was actually trying to see if the Mark Twain was docked before I went on Jungle Cruise. It had like just started because I think it was like 9:03, so it was like just going around the river. I was like, okay, never mind, we're not doing this right now. Because like my main thing, especially with the rotation rides, and I do this a lot with Fantasyland too, is I want to get in line like right when the rotation's ending, because then I'm not waiting at all for it, or I'm waiting like very minimally for it. So I was trying to do that especially for the boats, and we're gonna get to that when we get to the sailing ship Columbia and the disaster that was. But
when I pulled up to the Big Thunder queue, it looked a lot longer than 20.
So okay, if you see the Big Thunder queue like this, like going outside the entrance area, it's probably going to be like a 30-minute wait. At least that's what I thought, and that's what I was assuming. Somehow I got lucky. I think because no one was using their lightning lanes on this, probably because it was the only good one to rope drop in the morning, because Indiana Jones and Tiana's were down, and Tiana's was still down at this point. I got pretty lucky. Even though it looks kind of chaotic right here, it really was not that long of a wait. It was a 20-minute wait, so it was fine.
Okay, Big Thunder might take a fat minute, actually. 35? I'll do 35. I don't mind that.
Waiting 35 minutes will definitely bump me back behind schedule.
And I still kind of made it seem like I waited 35 minutes because you wanna like dramatize the video. Not a whole lot of like drama happened in this video at the beginning of it. It wasn't until I missed the Columbia, that's when it gets dramatic. But yeah, if you want to know like, oh, I want to go to Disneyland, I don't want to get Lightning Lane though, but I don't want to wait that long. You really just need to like look at the queue and just see if the queue looks good. See if there's Lightning Lane people in the queue. If there are a lot of people in the Lightning Lane queue, wait until later, do it again later because it's probably going to be like not as long. But there's usually like some visual hints that you can see. And honestly, if this sounds interesting, I saw actually there was someone in the comments of this video that was talking about that. If this sounds interesting, I could do a full video where I just walk through Disneyland and I talk about like, hey, if the line looks like this for this ride, don't go on it. But if it looks like this, then yeah, you should go on it. Because I feel like there's a lot to be said about how the queue looks and if you should get in line or not. Because this, I generally would not do it because I feel like this would be a long wait. But I just got lucky that it was only 20 minutes because there was no Lightning Lane. And I didn't really notice that. And it said 35 minutes. I just believed that.
However, as I was about to board the train, I saw something that would instantly put me back on track. The Mark Twain Riverboat.
Okay, speak of the devil, the Mark Twain is showing up right.
So I saw it showing up. It literally came to my head. I was like, I wonder where the Mark Twain is. And I was trying to look around the trees. I was like, I can't see it. And then like a minute later, it just showed up. And I was like, oh, you are kidding me right now. This is not about to happen right now. And I knew that like, usually the time it takes when it's like docked and they're loading people on, it doesn't like instantly leave, obviously. It's gonna take a little bit. So I was like, dude, this might actually be possible. But I still want to be like as quick as I can just in case it takes off quickly, so.
Okay, it's docked right now. It's still possible. Oh crap, is it going? No, it's not moving. Wait, I can't tell if it's moving or not. I'm running over there, bro. Oh, yes. We're getting on it. Okay, we got on. Dude.
So yeah, I was able to get on it. Honestly, hey, at least I got lucky with at least one of the rotations during the speed run. I didn't do so well with the Columbia, but you know, it is what it is.
So the only thing we really have to worry about for this section is Galaxy's Edge, which Rise is going to be the only one that's really scary. We have to do Bayou Country. Tiana's is still not open, so I don't even want to go over there yet.
So I was gonna originally do Bayou Country before I went into Galaxy's Edge because I knew that Millennium Falcon is really just not gonna be an issue. And Rise, I kind of knew I was gonna be taking the bullet for Rise because, you know, it's Rise of the Resistance, what can you really do? If though Tiana's Bayou Adventure didn't have single rider, then I probably would have just gone to Bayou Country like as soon as possible and just done the surrounding rides waiting for it to reopen. Because Tiana's Bayou Adventure, especially during the summertime as it was now, it was like August 10th, it can get really bad. So I'm really glad that they do have single rider. That's why I was just thinking like, okay, let's just do Galaxy's Edge while we wait for Tiana's to open. That was just kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, and by the way, this is not going to be the last time we go around this river today because of these two rides.
Here's the Columbia.
This is the first speedrun where all three of the boats have been in it. Usually I'm able to find myself not doing one of the boats or two of them. So this was the first time actually I had the sailing ship Columbia in the speedrun, and it did not go well.
What I discovered during my last speedrun is that if you use the single rider line for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, you can literally just skip the entire wait and walk on the ride because barely anyone uses it.
And then did you want to wait for any more crew members or just like...
I can do it by myself.
Alright, you're gonna be
okay, I'll do it.
I like how I wasn't even surprised at the fact that like I was walking on the ride, but I was more surprised at the fact that they were just letting me on it, like just myself. That feels like a little bit unproductive because, but the reason that there was no people in line, because I was like surprised at first. I was like, there were people in line, I saw them, why is there no one here? But it's because there's a pre-show and they kind of like hold you in the pre-show before they take you to the rest of the ride. So they were probably like in the middle of the pre-show.
Pilot, make the jump to light speed.
I'm making the jump to light. Okay.
Which yeah, if you're supposed to be right pilot is supposed to do the jump to light speed. So I was like, what the hell? I have to reach over for this.
I'm gonna check the wait for Rise.
Rise of the Resistance, arguably the worst ride as far as wait times go, is next on my list. However, I will not get in line if all signs are pointing to the line being over 1 hour, because I could just come back when the wait is looking a little better. But what exactly are these signs to look out for?
So I was fully expecting to wait an hour for this ride. I just didn't want to wait any more than an hour. I would have a few opportunities to do Rise of the Resistance because I was going over to the backside to Bayou Country, essentially. That's like the area that I was walking towards. I knew that if the wait looked really bad, then I was just gonna walk past, go to Bayou Country, do Bayou Country, and then walk past Rise again and see if Rise is looking good. If it's still looking bad, then I go over to Sailing Ship Columbia, do that, and then I go to Rise. So I was gonna have like 2 opportunities to pass by it and see if it looked good. It just so happened that the first time I passed by it, it didn't look that bad. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna go on it. But I was expecting to like be walking back and forth and checking on Rise because I wasn't expecting it to be a good wait at this point, but it ended up being fine.
It's really just about looking at the queue size rather than looking at the wait time, and also looking to see how many Lightning Lane people are in the queue right now. Way down there.
Which actually, funny story, the queue was actually a little bit shorter when I got off the ride, and I noticed that. I was like, dang, well, I mean, nothing I can do about it now. By the way, if you're wondering what I do when I'm in line, because I had this question when I was showing this video to someone. They were like, what do you even do when you're like waiting around in line? I just like, I don't know, I look at my phone, I look for potential routes, like what I should do after, and then I just like, I don't know, maybe post about it. Like that's usually when, if I know I'm in a long line. I think I posted like an update on my Instagram. I'm like, I'm in line number 12 out of 32 right now.
Your best bet is to simply look at how many people are in the exterior standby queue compared to how big the actual queue space is. And make sure the Lightning Lane queue isn't...
Because yeah, the Lightning Lane people are always going to be prioritized before you. So even if the standby queue doesn't look that bad, but you see the Lightning Lane queue like way out there, then it's still going to be a long wait because they have to go through all of those people before they go through the standby. Okay. So, okay, the canoes were actually kind of weird because I thought that the canoes were closed at first because I saw a canoe here, but there was no one like here. So I was like, wait, did they like close the ride? And then I realized that if I get in line just by myself, they're not going to put the canoes through because like I'm one person and they actually have to, like, you actually have to row the canoe. So I was like, oh dang, we have to wait for people to like get in line for me to even do this ride. But there were people that came like right before me, so I was like, okay, perfect. But yeah, since I saw the canoe like right there, I knew that I should probably just do the canoes first because, you know, it's a rotation ride. You want to be prioritizing the rotations. So
85 minutes for Tiana's. Whoa.
Thankfully, I plan on using
insane.
single rider for Tiana.
This is what it gets like in the afternoon at Tiana's. Not even the afternoon, it was like right before the afternoon, which I think is so funny too because there are some people who, you know, for whatever reasons whatever goofy schmoofy reasons they have, they're trying to make it seem like, oh, everyone hates Tiana's Bayou Adventure, no one's even in line for it. It's like, no bro, I've been there. It's an 85-minute wait most of the time. The people are going crazy for this ride. Okay, like come on, get out of here. Like maybe in the winter time it's not as crazy because, you know, it's a water ride. All right, I need to use my hand. Oh yeah, I had to literally, I was like trying to film it and then I was like, wait, I can't film this and row with 2 hands on the freaking oar, so I had to put it down.
Is kind of a shame because the cast really make this ride a fun one.
Dude, if I'm being honest, I genuinely think the canoes are starting to grow on me, which is crazy because they were like one of my least favorite rides for the longest time because I was like, why would you ever want to do this ride? But this is genuinely a like more comfortable experience than Nemo. I'm sorry, that ride sucks so bad. No one likes Nemo. It's the most cramped, uncomfortable ride ever, and it's always like a way longer wait than it should be. The canoes, you never have to wait for them. Sure, it might be a little bit hot, and yeah, you are rowing in the heat, but like, it's just, at least the cast members are there to make it kind of funny and fun. Like, I didn't put all of it in it, but this cast member was like cracking jokes. It was like Jungle Cruise. It was fun.
Is this single rider? Oh, okay, that's
okay. I didn't put it in the video, but this is where I met another fan. And it was honestly it was the cutest experience ever. So what happened was I was in line with these people.
Okay,
I was in the back of the line with these people and they like had noted, because like I look crazy right now, by the way. I've got a camera on my shoulder and I am holding a camera that I am just talking to. So I look like a really weird person right now. So they were like asking me like, oh, do you make videos? And I was like, oh yeah. And I was telling him about that. Then literally like 20 seconds later, this mom with like a probably 3-year-old child walks up and is like, hey, we just wanted to stop and say hi, we love your videos. And I was just flabbergasted because I was like, how is this happening like 20 seconds after I just talked to these people about how I make videos? This is insane. So I had to turn to them afterwards and be like, guys, I'm not that famous. I've only got like 5,000 subscribers. I'm really not that famous. It was really cute though. There was like this like 3-year-old kid who was like really excited and I was like, I'm filming a video right now. Like
It took about 15 minutes to get into the loading room for Tiana's Bayou adventure. And then while
So we waited like a little bit less than 25 minutes for this ride, which wasn't terrible, but it was probably like a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I was hoping for something like 15 minutes, but it's usually kind of hard to like predict how long you're gonna wait for single rider lines. I was still like ahead of schedule at this point. As far as everything goes, I was ahead of schedule.
this happened.
All right.
So they pulled me out of line because there was like a party that had like a guest with ADA, so they were like just being loaded on from the exit, and they needed one more person to like fill up the log. So they were like, all right, we just need one of the single riders. So yeah, just stay observant when you're in line for a ride. The route pass, it's like the buddy pass. It's like a secret single rider. Like it's not officially single rider, but it basically is. It's intended for like families who don't want to wait that long. I was like expecting to wait like 15 minutes for this, and it was a 15-minute wait, which honestly wouldn't have been that terrible. Like that's fine. But I waited 2 minutes for it. So like I think Winnie the Pooh is probably the best ride in Disneyland as far as like wait times go, for that exact reason. Like literally you could just walk on it even when it's like a wait that's not even that bad. So it's
I'm gonna try it. If I see that thing docked, I might start running.
Okay, so the sailing ship Columbia and the Mark Twain Riverboat load on at the same dock. A good way to figure out where each boat...
In hindsight, I probably should not have left the sailing ship Columbia as the last ride for section 2. That was kind of dumb on my part. Honestly, I was expecting to show up and it just wasn't going to be there, but I was going to have to wait like a little bit for it, like maybe 5 minutes. I wasn't expecting it to go this badly.
Even though I had suspicions, I didn't have a good view of the dock, so I wasn't 100% sure if it was docked yet, until...
Oh, it's docked. Okay, we need to lock in. We need to hurry. I see
The
it.
moment I saw that it was there, like my heart dropped. I was like, bro, we need to go right now.
Crap, I don't think they're deboarding right now.
I was trying to see if they were deboarding or like boarding new people on, because I was like, if they're deboarding, then it's okay, because that means we still have time to get over there. But if they're boarding people on, then like I might be cooked, because they have like less steps to get to like closing the gates.
Are they boarding yet? Wait, I think I missed it. Yeah, I think I just missed it. Crap.
Missed it. And honestly, if I had made this boat, I think I would have, I wonder what, I definitely would have gotten under 12 hours, but I wonder what it would have been. It would have been significantly lower than the first speedrun, which I think is really interesting. In fact, it may have come close to competing with my Lightning Lane speedrun, which would have been insane because I did more rides for this than that. If I had not missed this, then I wouldn't have gone through the, like, having to run back to it and then miss it again and then wait for it and then it break down on me. I wouldn't have gone through any of that. And then I also would have gone on Peter Pan earlier, so Peter Pan wouldn't have broke down on me. So there's like two snowball effects or two things that just wouldn't have happened if I had made this rotation. And those were like the two big things that like messed up the speedrun. So I genuinely wonder, if I had made this rotation, what would my time have been? It would have been like crazy good.
So now I'm forced to begin section 3 before finishing section 2, throwing me wildly off track from completing this in less than 12 hours.
Let's go to Fantasyland.
I didn't want to commit to section 3 because honestly I was just annoyed at this too, because I was excited for section 3. I was excited for Fantasyland. I had a really good plan for Fantasyland and I kind of did it, but it didn't go as well as I had wanted it to because of the delays. I was excited to like really just hone in on just Fantasyland, but I didn't want to do that until section 2 was done. And I also knew that the Columbia closes at like 3:30. I was like, okay, in the meantime, we're going to do the shortest ride in Fantasyland and then we're going to come back.
If we can get on the sailing ship, then I can mobile order food and I can wait in Peter Pan after. Yeah, we're doing Carousel.
Yeah, that was my plan, is that I was going to mobile order food and get in line for Peter Pan. The Carousel was the shortest wait. I bet you Teacups was also probably a really short wait, but that just felt deeper into Fantasyland. I was like, I don't want to go that far. But the Carousel still kind of took a while, not like the waiting for it, but just the like, you know, load on, load off time, like the time between rotations. It took a little bit.
I'm speed walking like a madman now. I really need the Columbia.
Notice also that I'm going from this side of it, which honestly is not, like, you shouldn't do that. Here, hold on. Let me show you guys something. Okay, so this is Google Earth. This is Disneyland in Google Earth. I knew this when I was doing it. I just still didn't do it. You can actually measure, like, oh, I wonder how long it's going to take me to walk. So if I were to walk from the exit of Carousel around the corner, like I did, kind of through this path, 0.21. It's 0.21 miles to walk this. But let's say you were like, oh, let's just go through the castle and go down this way. Then look, it's 0.17 miles. And I knew this, but I still went around the corner because in my brain, it's like, it feels faster, but it's not. I don't know why I did that.
Oh my God, is that the Columbia? It's going. I missed it again.
So yeah, and honestly, I probably wouldn't have even made it if I even went the other way. I was just pointing that out. So I was just annoyed at the fact that I was having to walk back and forth between the two, like between Fantasyland and Frontierland to do this. And I really didn't want to walk back because I was out of breath. I was annoyed. And also, I didn't really know what ride I would have even done. I probably would have done teacups, but I usually like to leave at least one ride that's not going to take that long in one area. Just cause, like, I don't know, it'll give me something to look forward to. Honestly, I should have just done teacups initially instead of the carousel, because it probably would have taken less time than the carousel, and then I probably maybe could have made the rotation. But either way, I was just like, I'm just going to wait. It doesn't matter. So.
To finish, but it's getting pretty hot. It could be worse.
Honestly, okay, I was complaining about the heat. It was really not that bad. I say it could have been worse. Oh, it has been worse, and I've been there when it's been worse. 80 degrees is not that bad. I don't even want to know what it would have been like if it was like 100 degrees, like it sometimes gets to.
However, its hours of operation being 11 to 3:30 make it a lot more inconvenient to get on than the Mark Twain.
Yeah, it's got like the worst hours to 11 to 3:30. That's like 4.5 hours that you have. And also, I overheard the cast at one point talking about like how, we close at 3:30, but like we're gonna run the last boat at like 3. So honestly, it closes at 3 is what you need to know. But yeah.
Which is when the absolutely devastating news hit us.
Alrighty.
So initially the boat stopped, and then they said that, we have to wait for the canoes to pass us because there's some canoes that are going to come by and pass us before we can continue. They either passed us or they didn't, I don't remember. But then they said this over the speaker.
Folks, we are experiencing some maintenance concerns.
I've seen videos of people get stuck on the Mark Twain. They have to be like rescued back on the freaking the raft that takes you to the island. I have my
so I was assuming the worst. I was like, dude, are we gonna have to be like evacuated off of this? Like, I don't know what's happening. I thought that the maintenance concerns had to do with the Columbia, but no, they didn't. Also, and I mentioned it right here.
My pizza order, it said that it was ready. I have to go pick it up at window 1. I'm hungry. Oh my.
I had mobile ordered like right when the ride had started because I was like, okay, perfect timing, it'll be ready by the time I get over there. Because I mobile ordered it at Red Rose Tavern. But yeah, then it said it was ready, but then it's like I can't even get it now because I'm stuck on this ride. But yeah, there's nothing you can do in these situations. It sucks. You just have to hope that something happens, that we fix the ride, that they fix the ride. I don't know. I kind of figured like that something was bound to happen with the boats because it's kind of a logistics nightmare figuring out how to do all 3 of the boats in one speed run. I don't think normal people would even want to do all 3 of the boats just normally at Disneyland. This is not a normal person activity.
Mark Twain is temporarily closed right now.
Yeah, okay, the Mark Twain was closed. So when I realized this, I was like, okay, it's not even us, it's literally the Mark Twain, but the Mark Twain's just in the way. Technically, our boat still works, so they could just take us to the dock. They just can't get us to the dock because the Mark Twain is broken down.
Okay, well, at least look, we got the freaking, what's it called? Tomorrowland. What? Am I insane? I need food right now. I'm so hungry. Tom Sawyer Island.
I feel like when I get hungry, like, the words just start like not making sense and I just don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, that was just one of those moments. I was really hungry at that point.
We ask that you please have your tickets out, ready to scan. Thank you so much.
I don't know if this is this allowed? We're gonna give everyone a multi-experience pass because you guys got broken down on.
I had kind of realized as this was happening, I was like, dude, I don't even think I've like addressed this in the rules of no lighting lane speedruns. Like, are you able to use multi-experience passes? For content's sake, I was like, I know that if I use the multi-experience pass, there's going to be some comments of people who are like, oh, well, you said no lightning lane, but then you used the lightning lane. So I was like, nah, bro, I'm not going to use it. It's fine. I don't need to use it. Like, I'll figure it out without it. However, if you're doing a no lighting lane speedrun and you get a multi-experience pass, if this happens, I think it's fair that you can use it because it, like, you didn't buy it. It was given to you, whatever. You can use it. But for the sake of this video, I was like, I don't want to do it because I think it would look so much cooler if I had a fast pass and I just didn't use it. I was planning on using it, like, later in the night after the speedrun, but then I was too tired and I didn't use it.
But headed back into Fantasyland to chip away at Section 3 after picking up some pizza.
Okay, funny story about the pizza. So, remember how I said I mobile ordered it and it was ready like while I was broken down on the Columbia? I discovered there that if you miss your window of like getting the pizza, like if you miss your mobile order window, it told me on the mobile order app, it was like, oh, since you missed your mobile order window, you can't get your food. And since you specified that you would be there during that time, we're not going to give you a refund. So I was like, oh, okay, so you're just going to take my money then. Okay, cool. It was like a $10 pizza, whatever. But I just went up there and I was like, hey, I was broken down on a ride. I was just trying to get one pizza. And I was like, I know that they've got these things preheated. Like, they could probably just give it to me. And then, yeah, they gave it to me. It was no big deal. Also, funny thing that I did, they handed it to me on a tray, but I went and got rid of the tray and just put the pizza in like a paper bag that I had because I don't have time to like sit down and eat. We are speedrunning right now. We don't got time for that.
Oh wait, but that looks like a long line. Yeah, no, I'm not getting that line for Peter Pan. Hold on. Yeah, we're gonna do Snow White instead.
So yeah,
looks
Peter
like a
Pan
long
looks like a relatively long line. So I was like, okay, we're not doing that. We're just gonna do Snow White. And Snow White wasn't amazing, but it actually ended up being like a bit of a, it wasn't that bad of a wait. Because I wanted to wait in like a decently long line at this point.
This is my food situation right now. I have it in this bag.
I folded the pizza. I like put it in a bag and then I folded it and I ate it like that. That was so funny. In preparation for the speedrun, I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna be when I get hungry. So I had to like look at different mobile order locations and be like, okay, that's an easy thing to eat in line. That's an easy thing to eat in line.
As far as the Fantasyland dark rides like this one go, Snow White is...
So look, okay, easily accessible, pretty easy, just in the middle, pretty difficult, not worth the wait. Peter Pan has its own category because of how bad it is. As far as like the Fantasyland dark rides go, this is generally how I look at them. Like Pinocchio, really easy. Mr. Toad, you can make it really easy. You just have to get in it at the right time. Snow White, it can be, it can sometimes be kind of bad, but you can also like find a pretty low wait for it. Alice in Wonderland kind of sucks. It's usually going to be like a long wait. Peter Pan is always long. There's never a good time for Peter Pan unless you're rope dropping.
Okay, so what I was trying to say is the name of the game for Section 3 is to literally just look at the queues of the rides and decide whether or not to go on them.
So this was my like initial plan for Fantasyland. I was just going to look at the queues and be like, I want to go on this ride because the line does not look that long. And I'm not saying like look at the wait time. I don't even think I looked at wait times at all for this. I mean, I maybe glanced at them, but I didn't really take it into consideration as far as like getting in the line for it or not. It's really just a matter of like, how long does the line look? Should I get in line or no?
It usually can be pretty easy at determining what the wait will be just by looking for certain visual hints. For example,
Peter Pan, it could be better.
When the Peter Pan queue occupies
this is bad for Peter Pan. This is good for Peter Pan. This footage isn't even from this day. This was from 2 days later. This was from like August 12th. This was a Tuesday. Pretty busy here at Peter Pan. This is bad for Peter Pan. Don't get in line if it looks like this. You gotta wait until you see those switchbacks looking like not that bad. But yeah, some of the footage I used for this was from the other day because I was just walking around vlogging. I need to post that vlog. It was a funny vlog.
Ultimately, after Snow White, I decided to do Dumbo because the queue was not occupying the entire extended area out here, and I knew that we wouldn't be waiting any more than 25 minutes, which is decent for Dumbo in the afternoon.
And again, if you want me to do a video where I go through every ride at Disneyland and I talk about my knowledge on like, oh, this is the extended queue. If you see people here, then it's a long wait. Let me know because I'd be down to put that. I'll put it on this channel too.
I would not recommend it due to the heat.
I feel like the Columbus
is really not that bad. Like I was complaining about it, but like it's really not that bad. But yeah, the thing about Fantasyland is that it is objectively the best area to do for a no lighting lane speedrun in the afternoon, but it's also the worst because it's so like most of the queues are kind of outside. It kind of sucks. If you are inside, it's not the best air conditioning. I don't even want to know what it's like doing Storybook in the afternoon. Actually, I've done it before. I've done Storybook in the afternoon. It's not fun.
Also, Dumbo is a great ride for checking in on the queues of nearby rides.
Pinocchio doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, whenever you have the opportunity, you should use the ride's like height to your advantage just to like see like where is everything. I do that a lot with Dumbo because it's so convenient with Dumbo because all the rides are just right there.
Okay, this isn't that bad for Pinocchio. We're gonna wait maybe 5 more minutes.
So yeah, Pinocchio is usually never like an issue like during the day. I've seen it get kind of long. I think it maxes out at like 20 minutes. I've never seen it go any higher than that. But it's most often going to be like 10 minutes or less, usually less.
Here?
So yeah, Peter Pan, this doesn't look that bad. Look, as you can see, the 2 switchbacks, they're like not filled, so it means it's probably going to be pretty good. 30 minutes, that's all right. You know, that's about what you are going to be expecting for Peter Pan. So I was like, all right, we're going to just do Peter Pan right now.
There comes a time when you're in line and you're just like tired and bored and you decide to draw. So this is what I drew.
So, okay. This wasn't even my idea. Shout out to my friend Hope. She's the one who gave me this idea. She was like, what are you going to do in line? And I was like, I'm just going to, I don't know, be on my phone. Like I think it was like a couple days before I left for the speedrun. And she was like, what if you just like drew something? Or I think it's because we were buying these bags, and she was like, oh, you can draw on them too. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. So I brought a pen with me, and I was like, I'm just gonna draw something funny when I'm waiting in line. And it just so happened that I ended up like crashing out about the sailing ship. So I was like, this is perfect. We're just going to put this in the video.
It's a picture of me on the sailing ship Columbia with an upside down smile.
Also, the upside down smiley face, that was supposed to be the boat, but then I realized it was way too small, so I had to kind of salvage it. It looks kind of weird. I don't know, but it is.
Smiley face. The cast members.
My lack of drawing skills were the least of my concerns.
We're currently experiencing some technical difficulties at this time.
Yeah, this sucks. I hate being in the situation. It sucks because it's like, damn, should I get out or should I just stay in line? Do I just thug it out? When you decide I'm gonna just wait, I'm just gonna thug it out in line, you can't go back from that. If you wait 30 minutes and the ride's still not open, that's 30 minutes of time that you're wasting. You might as well still just stay in because then if you get out and then 2 minutes later they open it, then you're cooked. Then it's like, damn, that really sucks. This is actually the worst situation to be in because then you have a choice. Do you stay in line or do you not stay in line?
Fine, let me look at some data before I make this decision to get out. Okay, this could take as long as 123 minutes or as short as 12 minutes.
So, okay, the data that I'm taking this from, and it isn't exactly this graph because it was from a different time, but I get all the data that I talk about from Thrill Data. They have a spot for the rides where it'll track how long the ride is broken down. So it's saying it will, like, from the month that I was looking at, it was going to take either 123 minutes or 12 minutes. And that was kind of like the range that I was working with. And honestly, all things considered, I probably should have just gotten out of line because that's insane. Because it wasn't likely that I was going to wait like 12 minutes. If I was going to wait 12 minutes, then yeah, I should stay in line. It kind of looked more like I was going to wait like maybe 30 to 40 minutes. But I don't know why. I think I was just overly optimistic, and also there were some people that were getting out of line, so we were still kind of like moving a little bit. So I was like, dude, if they just opened it right now, like I could just get on. If I had gotten out of line, it wouldn't have been the end of the world. I could have salvaged it. But even staying in line, it wasn't even the end of the world either. I don't know. I didn't make the wrong choice, but it also was just a really big risk, and it could have been a lot worse. So I don't know. I noticed that the cast members were like, it looked like they were getting close to fixing the ride. So I was like, okay, let's just wait. I think they're gonna fix it. So yeah, like as you can see, I'm getting closer up in the line, and it's just because people left the line. I noticed them like they would move the vehicles, but only just to take people off the ride, not to put new people on. But I was like, the fact that they can even move them though, I feel like that's got to mean that this isn't that bad of a breakdown. They'll probably have this up and running like quickly, hopefully. I don't know.
Peter Pan, yay! Here we go! I'm so tired.
Peter
It's
Pan's
so funny.
flight
Usually Peter Pan is like the first ride I do for speedruns, but yeah, ride 21 and I'm like crashing out. That's how it is in this speedrun. Yeah, because look at that. If you aren't literally the first person to Peter Pan, then you're cooked. It's already like a 32-minute wait, so there's never an opportunity to get a break on it. You literally have to be the first person at the rope if you want to like walk on Peter Pan. So yeah, Toads is pretty bad. Like this is not good for Toads. Anything that's like in the exterior for Toads, anything that's like significantly in the exterior is pretty bad. Yeah, because I was like, okay, I could either do Teacups or Alice in Wonderland, and I was like, I just want to do Teacups right now. I don't even want to wait in a long line, so Teacups is not going to be that long.
It's gonna take 13 hours at least. There's no way it's gonna take 12 hours.
If I want any chance of keeping this insane goal of speedrunning Disneyland faster than with Lightning Lane alive, then I cannot spend any more than 2 hours finishing up Fantasyland. Technically,
okay, so as far as like the voiceover with like how far we are in the rides go, it's not entirely accurate because like at this point I was fully expecting like this is gonna take longer than 12 hours. A lot of what's said as far as like how much time we have left kind of goes, it's me just kind of estimating after the fact so that I can make a good video. It's like accurate kind of, but it's also like in the moment I had a much more pessimistic view of where we were.
Are we gonna do Alice or are we gonna do Toads after Teacups? We gotta pick our poison. Alice is posted at 30, Toads is posted at 25. Of the two, I think Alice is probably the better deal.
Right, even though I could kind of see the Alice queue and it didn't look amazing, so I wasn't fully looking forward to that, but you know. I just knew that if I held out on Toads, it was gonna get better. Because Toads it's not usually like that, especially on a Sunday. Like, that's so weird. I was thinking that Alice was going to take probably like 30 minutes. That's what it said, and that's usually what it is if it's like out at this point. It ended up only taking 20 minutes. I feel like I always just happen to get lucky on Alice in Wonderland with the speedruns. It's the third time that's happened to me. So yeah, I feel like the Alice queue is, it's probably not as scary as it looks. I don't know. I feel like I always overinflate how long it's going to be in my mind.
It's our caterpillar. Let's not leave my phone on this ride.
Alice in Wonderland.
Call back to the other.
In fact, I was feeling so good about my time save at Alice that I decided to quickly pick up a cold brew to
I knew that I had some time, so I was like, it's fine. I'm just going to move over this real quick and go run and pick up the cold brew. It'll take maybe 1 or 2 minutes. And I'm glad I did, though, because it really did. I feel like there are moments when I'm doing a Disneyland speedrun where I'm like, hey, I need to remind myself that I'm like at Disneyland right now, so let me just go get a cold brew and just like enjoy it real quick so that I'm not just like slaving away at these rides, because it's really easy to get like tunnel vision into just doing the rides. I don't get cold brews at Disneyland that often. I feel like I should do it more.
Let's take a look at Toads as we prepare for this. Oh, see, it's not as bad. It's a little...
Yeah, see, look, that's not as bad as what it looked like before. So I was like, I'm actually going insane right now. Like, I felt like I was going insane when I was saying like, oh my god, guys, I swear the line's gonna get better. You just need to wait. And then it did get better, so I was so happy about that. I'm glad that I was stubborn about Toads, because I just knew that Toads, it's not supposed to be that bad. But yeah, it's okay to be stubborn, basically. That's the moral of the story. It's okay to be stubborn with a ride that you think is gonna go down, but it's not going down just yet. Just wait. I promise it's gonna go down. I did the same thing for Nemo, and it worked out perfectly.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride fluctuates from 10 to 25 minutes throughout the day. In fact,
it fluctuates a lot, and that's kind of what I thought was happening, but I guess it was being stubborn that day. I don't know.
We can get out of Fantasyland now. We're going to Small World now. Oh, thank God, bro. Get me out of here. Get me out of this place. This is like some new version of hell.
With the time saves at Alice,
I was actually so happy to get on Small World and just to get out of the main area of Fantasyland, because it was just so annoying.
Toads as speed.
Like, for my own sanity, I just hate being in that confined area when it's like busy.
30 minutes? Ugh. Let's see though, because maybe it's not 30 minutes. I don't think this is gonna take 30 minutes.
Yeah, and again, I looked at the queue and I was like, that's not 30 minutes, and then it ended up not being 30 minutes. So sometimes I could just tell. I don't know. I could just look at the queue and I'm like, no, it's not gonna be that bad. I don't know if it's like I've made it my obsession to like guess wait times and to like look at the queues and be like, oh, I know what that wait time's gonna be. But I was able to accurately guess this one. I saw it, I was like, this is 20 minutes, and then
dude, what do you know? It just went down to 20 minutes.
The app, like, literally, I guessed it before the app could guess it.
The only thing you really need to worry about for Small World is the scary hippo.
Bro, not the hippo. We still need to...
I hope at some point someone makes a creepypasta of the scary hippo at Small World.
We've been at this for 9 hours and 55 minutes. We've got 2 more hours if we want to hit that 12-hour goal. I don't think that's going to happen. I want to be a little more realistic, but let's try to do this in under 13 hours. How about that?
Accepting this reality was...
So I had already kind of given up on the under 12 hours after everything that happened with Peter Pan, because I already kind of knew after Sailing Ship, I was like, okay, we need to get really lucky if we want to get under 12 hours. But then Peter Pan happened, and I was like, okay, no, it's not happening. But then I was actually kind of surprised to see what happened in Tomorrowland. Like, the waits were not that bad.
You know what? The wait times here are not looking that
Yeah,
bad.
these are not that bad wait times, like, at all for Tomorrowland. 15 minutes for Nemo, and then you got 10 minutes for Autopia.
65 minutes for Space Mountain. That's probably going to translate to maybe 20, 25 in single rider. Maybe we could do this in less than 12 hours. I don't know. It's possible. Is it possible?
I'm glad that I said this here because I could make the video all dramatic. Like, all right, guys, we got to rush to get it under 12 hours. But in my mind, I had already kind of been like, I don't think it's going to happen. But there was still something in the back of my mind that I was like, if I get lucky in Tomorrowland, though, I might have a chance. So, okay, with the railroad, initially when I had like first made the rules, I made it so that you have to go around the entire loop of the railroad. But I've changed my rules. I did a video like what, a year ago at this point, where I talked about all the rule changes. And one of those rule changes was that you don't have to do a complete loop of the train. You just have to do like one section to the other section. So I wanted to like kind of use that to my advantage because I kind of knew that I was going to be doing Small World last as a part of the section station. So I was like, okay, we'll do Small World, then we'll go on the railroad and we'll take it into Tomorrowland and we'll do Tomorrowland like last. And that's like our area. And yeah, that ended up working out perfectly fine. We didn't even wait that long for the railroad. We actually got kind of lucky with the wait there.
Ideally, you want to board from a station that people tend to deboard at the most, which will give you a better chance of getting on the next train. Right here is a ranking from worst to best.
So yeah, even it's only like C tier, I would say. It's usually not even that great because it's dependent on how many people get off of the train. So Main Street is your best bet because a lot of people get off at Main Street. New Orleans Square, a lot of people just get on Main Street just to go to New Orleans Square just because they just want to do the railroad. Toontown, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. And then Tomorrowland is usually the worst because like everyone wants to get on at Tomorrowland because that's where like the dinosaur thing is in the tunnel and everyone wants to see that. No one's ever getting off at Tomorrowland except for me for this speed run. I got off of it.
We just have 6 more rides. They are all in this land.
And I decided to start with
locked in. I like in my head I was like maybe we could do it. There's like a small chance and I kind of want to shoot for it. Also because I'm filming content, like I have to shoot for it, you know, like this is the content right here. And I'm so glad I did because it made like the last half of this video like more intense than the first half of this video, which is kind of funny. I've learned also that like Tomorrowland is just the best land to save for the last. No matter if you're doing a Lightning Lane speedrun or a no Lightning Lane speedrun, because if you're using Lightning Lane, the Lightning Lane rides, with the exception of Space Mountain, are all gonna be like pretty easy to get return times in the afternoon. But if you're doing it without Lightning Lane, it's still like the lines are relatively not that bad and it's still better to do them kind of in the afternoon. And also for the worst one, Space Mountain, you have single rider. And single rider isn't the best for Space Mountain, but it works better than the standby.
Dude, I am so locked in right now. We're doing this. So locked in, they thought I was in prison. That was not a long wait. That was like 10 minutes. So
that's my favorite catchphrase. Yeah, Autopia didn't even take that long. Autopia literally took like 5 minutes. I don't know why I said 10 minutes. It took 5 minutes. It was not that long. So yeah, okay. Here's like a pro tip for Autopia. This is like elite baller knowledge. I didn't even put this in the video. Like, I mean, I kind of explained it, but not that much. So there's 4 lanes for Autopia. There's one right here, there's one right here, one right here, and one right here. So the way that they load you on, there's like 2 staircases. So you can walk down this long stretch and go to these 2 lanes, or you can walk down this little stretch and go to these 2 lanes. If every single lane is open, then just go down the little stretch because it's not going to take that long because you get the choice to wait in. You get the choice, like you go either right or left. Right, it would be this this tiny staircase down here. The only time you wouldn't want to do this though is if one of these 2 lanes is closed. If that's happening, then you want to take the long stretch, you know, because there's 2 lanes open here. But yeah, I noticed that all the lanes were open, so I was like, all right, whatever, we're just gonna wait in the small stretch, and it ended up
operational. But it like generally isn't going to
be that. I think people just don't use Lightning Lane for Autopia because like, why? So, you know, there's that too. Okay, I was faced with a dilemma right here because what happened was Space Mountain went from 65 minutes to 45 minutes. It went down. I wasn't expecting it to go down. I was expecting it to go up, but it went down, which in my mind meant, okay, that means it's probably getting better. That means they're probably going to let in more single riders, which means that like I should get in line for it because 45 minutes for single rider, that probably translates to like really good, like not that long of a wait. But at the same time, I could see the Nemo queue and I could physically see that the Nemo queue did not look that bad. And I kind of wanted to go towards it. I think I made the right decision here because I said, I know that Nemo is going to keep going down. Like I know that it looks good now, but it's going to get better. So it only gets better like from, hold on, let me show you. Okay, look, so this is Excel. This is every ride in Tomorrowland. They're like average wait times. Nemo right here, it like peaks around like the afternoon time, but then it starts to go down and it goes down significantly around like 6 p.m. It goes down. So I knew that Nemo was going to keep going down and I knew that like there's no chance Nemo goes like it's going to get worse than this. So I was like, okay, then I should do Space Mountain now while Space Mountain is low because Space Mountain will probably go up. This was like the one last like Hail Mary if I did want to do this in less than 12 hours because I knew that if that were happening, we're gonna save Nemo for the second to last ride and then do the monorail last, because if you do the monorail last, then you can just do from Tomorrowland to downtown Disney and get off there, and then you save time that way because you don't have to go back into Disneyland, because that was another thing that I changed in the rules, is that you only have to do one section of the monorail.
And to set this plan in motion, I got in line for the single rider queue of Space Mountain.
5 rides in an hour and a half is what we need to do.
So, okay, at this point, I was like, it's a long shot, but also it's technically possible. So I was like, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
By the way, Star Tours was closed for refurbishment the
Also,
day.
yeah, Star Tours was closed. I have to mention every ride that's closed because there's gonna be someone in the comments that's like, oh, you forgot to do this.
Tragedy struck the Space Mountain queue.
Okay, we've run into a problem. I just pulled out the app and I saw this.
Dude, okay, when I pulled out the app and I saw that, my heart like fell through my body. I was like, are you joking? Because I was getting close to like the front of the single rider queue where they let you into the other part. And I had been waiting like, I think 20 minutes at that point, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, dude, are you telling me for the third time a ride is broken down on me and I have to deal with this again? But also no one had said it, like none of the cast members had said anything. So I was still just kind of like, all right, I don't know what's happening. This kind of sucks. Maybe they fix it quickly. I don't know. But yeah, no, this hurt bad. And I was like about to admit, like, guys, there's actually just no chance of us doing this in less than 12 hours. But then this happened.
As if Walt Disney himself were looking down upon my speedrun, the cast let me through to the next part of the queue.
Okay, well, they're letting us in, so I got...
Okay, none of the cast had said anything. Everyone else in line just kind of assumed that it was, like, no one thought that it was closed. I was the only one who thought it was closed because I looked at the app. But then they just let us through. I was like, okay, well, if they're letting us through, then, like, it should be open, right? Like, you know, I'm just gonna keep going, I guess.
Got a pass. Okay, I think we're chilling, though, because I'm like, I'm getting on the ride. Like, they wouldn't have let me in if not. So, no, bro, it still says it's broken.
But yeah, the app was just lying. It was just saying that the ride was closed. And honestly, I don't know why they did this. I think it had to have been a glitch because, like, I don't know what kind of incentive Disney would have to like mark a ride as temporarily closed and then have to distribute multi-experience passes when the ride is not even closed. So I don't know why they did that. That was, I don't know, weird.
Even the single rider queue, depending on the day, isn't always the secret weapon it usually is.
Because I think I waited like almost 30 minutes in the single rider queue. Like probably total 30 minutes, which is still not even that great for a speedrun.
Oh, here, let's skip over here. We're going through the store. It's a time save. Buzz Lightyear, what does it look like?
I love the store skip.
Unfortunately for me, Buzz Lightyear had about a 30-minute wait when I arrived to it. However, Astro Orbiter had a much more reasonable
So yeah, Buzz Lightyear looked pretty bad. You can kind of see it looks bad. It went down that little like corner near where Sleepy Hollow is, or Sleepy, what's it called? Pixie Hollow, I don't know where Tinkerbell is. If it goes down there, it's probably going to be a long wait, a longish wait. But I also was like, I don't want to save this one for last though, because like that's what I did during the like I was very aware of like I did that during the last video. I saved Buzz Lightyear for last. I don't want to do that. I like the idea of having the monorail being last. So also at this point we had like 1 more hour. Like I have like 1 more hour to do 4 rides. I kind of knew that it probably wasn't possible just because of Nemo. I was still gonna try, but like for the sake of the video, I was like, I'm just gonna make it seem like we're really close because I wanted to just make the video a little bit more dramatic. And I was like, I know that if I just have it be like, oh guys, sorry, we hit the 12-hour mark, but we aren't done with the rides. Like I wanted to keep people on the edge. So I kind of had to like make it seem like we were really close, but we really weren't. So, you know, that's where we were.
But usually you can find lower weights for this one because Dumbo...
Yeah, Astro Orbiter has a lower weight. I think it's just because Dumbo is like, more people want to go on Dumbo because it's like, oh my god, I'm flying on the Dumbo. Like this is the one situation where I genuinely think it's because like more people for whatever reason want to go on Dumbo, even though it would make sense that more people are in line for Astro Orbiter because it's right in the front. I don't know. Here's what happened. I don't know how this happened, but during the time that I was on Astro Orbiter,
more popular ride.
Look at this whole area. I was just talking about how this area was filled up with people going down near Pixie Hollow, and now it's just one switchback over here. And I was like, wait, that's it? That's all that the wait is? I should just wait in this queue.
No,
and look, there's no lightning lane queue. There's no lightning lane queue either. So I was like, dude, this shouldn't take that long, right? Like theoretically, this shouldn't take that long. But then it ended up taking like, I think it took like 25 minutes, which is maybe a little bit longer than I would have wanted it to, especially for like what I'm trying to do right now and how close for time I am.
I can't aim for on this game.
Buzz Lightyear,
yeah, I don't know how to play this game. I think I'm just dumb. I can't do this. I'm so much better at Toy Story than I am at Buzz Lightyear. Even Spider-Man, like I know where to shoot. Knowing where to shoot on Buzz Lightyear is not the issue. It's hitting the targets. I just can't do it for some reason. I don't know. I'm just bad at it.
In fact, this ride doesn't really pick up traction until the afternoon and evening when everyone decides to use their lightning lanes on it. Yeah. Having done all...
I was kind of choosing the worst time to go on Buzz Lightyear because it usually does get, like, that's usually when people go on it. Is like in the afternoon and evening because they've used all their lightning lines on everything else and they're like, all right, time to do Buzz Lightyear because we still have Genie Plus, we still have Multipass and we want to use all our lightning lanes. Okay, fun fact before we get to Nemo. This is not so much a fun fact. I don't know why I'm admitting this. So right after Buzz Lightyear, I went to the restroom, and it was the first time that day. Well, first time during the speedrun that I went to the which I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how. I didn't even need to go that badly, but I knew that I was about to go on Nemo, and I was like, I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I need to use the restroom when I'm in Nemo, because that sounds like hell. So yeah, I went to the restroom real quick and then I went back. But like, that still, and it wasn't even like I wasn't eating or drinking that day. Like I ate the pizza, I was drinking a lot of water. I don't know, I think my body was just like, hey, let's lock in for today and let's like not use the restroom at all. So that was kind of funny.
I'm gonna have to really cut it close if I want to get under 12 hours.
Which made it good that I waited.
Okay, also, another thing to admit, and I'm so sorry that I have to admit this. Yeah, we had hit the 12-hour mark, like, right before I got in line for this ride. Or, like, right as I was getting in line. That's when we hit the 12-hour mark. But I wanted to make it seem like we were really close, so, you know, I had to edit it a little bit differently. And I kind of knew that. Like, I had a moment with myself where I was like, okay, we hit 12 hours, but, like, we're so close. We just need to, like, we need to make it seem like we're really close. So that's what we did. Apologies for lying. But also, hey, at least I made a good video. I don't know.
Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage has the worst rotations of any ride at Disneyland. Only 40 people can fit in these tiny submarines, the ride takes about 15 minutes, and they generally have 4 submarines running at one time, which makes for...
I was gonna do math on, like, how long it was going to take to wait, but that sounded too complicated.
But if, for whatever reason, you still want to subject yourself to this uncomfortable experience...
Yeah, for whatever reason, if you want to subject yourself to this uncomfortable experience...
And just make sure to do this ride either in the morning or evening.
Wow.
But it wasn't that insufferable this time because I didn't wait like 45 minutes for it like I did last time. That sucked so bad. I hated that. This time, I waited like 5 minutes for it. It wasn't that bad. But yeah, I was already at 12 hours at this point, so like I wasn't trying to even make it seem like we were close. Well, I was, but I also was like, I just want to make this part like I want to have like an overview of everything we did so that when I do lose, it's not that bad. It's not that big of a blow.
Wow, look, dude, everyone's here. Everyone's here to celebrate my speedrun. Once we get out of this exit queue, we're done. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm ready to stop the timer. It's happening. It's happening. Oh my god. Oh my god, we did it. We just completed the Disneyland speedrun without Lightning Lane. Our time was 12 hours, 37 minutes, and 39 seconds.
Alright, so there it is. 12 hours, 37 minutes, 39 seconds. Now, honestly, okay, all things considered, I had like 2 major setbacks. 12 and a half hours is not that bad. I was shooting for 12 hours. It was only like a 37-minute add-on with having 2 rides break down on me. That's not that bad. I did not get the world record though. Hold on, let me show you. So this is the leaderboard for no Lightning Lane speedrun. There was already someone that beat me. They got a better time. This was like maybe a year ago. When was this? I forgot. June 12th, 2024. So yeah, this happened like a while ago. Even in final time, I still did not beat them, which is fine. I wasn't really shooting for world record. I just wanted to make a fun video. I probably would have gotten it if I had made the Columbia. I genuinely wonder, because if I got 12 and a half hours with the Columbia breaking down on me and with Peter Pan breaking down on me, with me missing the Columbia twice, if none of that happened, what would my time be? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It probably would have been like maybe 10 hours. Like 10 hours and 50 minutes or something. That would have been so insane. But, you know, it's fine. Sometimes when bad things happen during speedruns, it's good because it means that you can dramatize it and make it a good video. Like I said, it was a good day to do it. Like, Sundays are genuinely good days to do speedruns. But it's just, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time too many times. I don't think there were too many bad decisions I made, though. Like, most of the things that happened were kind of out of my control. I kind of, like, played pretty well, I feel like. Even through the madness, I was still able to, like, make some good decisions. Like, especially in Tomorrowland, when I was like, I want to have it end this way. And in Fantasyland, I feel like I was making all the right decisions in Fantasyland. Fantasyland was kind of tough. I think my route was perfect. It was spot on. I don't think I would change the route at all, other than maybe figuring out how to do the sailing ship Columbia a little bit earlier so that I'm not saving that one for last in the section, but you know, that's whatever.
With
Lightning Lane and with early entry, it was like only like 20 minutes faster. Granted, this was a bad speedrun. Well, not bad, like it was decent. It was my first speedrun, but like I have a better speedrun now. There were some decisions I made during that speedrun that were not smart, and I've since learned that they are not smart. Still, like with Lightning Lane and with early entry, like I did like 12 rides in the first hour during that. I was still able to do like just 20 minutes slower than if I had Lightning Lane and early entry with the speedrun. So I don't know, it was pretty good. Watch the fireworks for like maybe 5 minutes and then I left. I was so dead. I do not recommend doing this if you are not prepared for it. It's not normal. I say it all the time. I'm like, guys, this isn't normal. Don't do this if you're not prepared, because it's like you have to mentally prepare yourself for feeling like you are being tortured while you are at a place that you should be having fun at. That's what you need to prepare yourself for. But if you're up for it and you think you're gonna have fun during it, then you should do it. Anyways, if you like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe. This is my second channel, by the way. I'm just throwing whatever the hell I want on this channel. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.